Have you ever noticed how a week can start with clarity and by Wednesday it just feels diluted? Not a disaster, not a crisis, just a subtle loss of momentum. I have experienced that more times than I can count, and for a long time I thought it was a discipline issue, but I don't think it is. After many years in academia, teaching, publishing, supervising, sitting in endless meetings, I started noticing something. Weeks don't usually collapse, they just destabilize, which is not the same. Mondays feels intentional, Tuesday is still solid, and then somewhere midweek things begin to fragment. More emails, more decisions, more small requests, energy shift. Nothing dramatic really happened, but your intellectual focus is not where it was. I like to call this the chaos cadence. Not chaos as an exception, but chaos as a rhythm. We often, for example, say we have a heavy workload. And don't get me wrong, I know very often we do have a heavy workload. But here's the thing, I don't think the workload alone explains that midweek drift. What really wears us down is the combination of things such as context switching, decision fatigue, emotional labor, and all the administration extra work that we need to do. All these things are small on their own, but when you add them together, that's when the problem comes. You see, most of us plan our weeks as stability will hold. In other words, stability is there the whole week, but that's not really what happens in the week of an academic. So if we need to fix the midweek chaos, we need to stop asking ourselves, how do I eliminate the chaos? Instead, start asking, how do I design my week around the chaos? Because the chaos doesn't go anywhere. Just think about it. How often have you found yourself in the situation that the plan that you made for your week fell apart by Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday? Probably more than once. So eliminating the chaos is challenging and sometimes not even possible, but working around, that's possible. Now, here are 3 things that have helped me deal with this issue. Number 1, front load depth. So I used to gather research or deep work, focus writing work across the entire week. Now I try to move my most important intellectual work early in the week. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it needs to be intentional. If something important hasn't progressed by Tuesday afternoon, well, I know the rest of the week may not be as cognitively stable, so I know that I need to protect Monday, Tuesday for research or deep focus work whenever possible. Number 2, reduce active loops. I also noticed that midweek stress wasn't just about time. It's also about open loops. And what do I mean by that? Well, for me, this usually means too many active projects competing for my attention or my time. So now I try to identify only 2, 1 primary intellectual priority and 1 secondary task. Everything else becomes containment. That doesn't mean forget about them forever, just containment. I will work on them, but not now. That alone reduces mental drag. Number 3, separate identity from the week. This one took me the longest. When a week destabilized, I used to internalize it. I should be better at this, I'm behind, I need more discipline. Now I try to say, this is structural. Just, I need to adjust. That small shift preserves energy, and energy matters more than we think. Now, here's a practical midweek reset that you can use next week. If Wednesday feels fragmented, I sometimes pause for 5 minutes and ask myself 3 key questions. First, what I absolutely need to move this week? What can be contained? And what is just noise? Then I redesign the remaining days around that clarity. It's not dramatic, I know, but believe me, it restores control asking yourself those questions and reflecting about it. One important thing, I don't think academic weeks need to be perfectly calm. I don't think it's even realistic to consider that. But I do think we can become more aware of the rhythm. Once you recognize the cadence, you stop blaming yourself for it and you start designing your work around that. That's made a real difference on my clients' work and for me too. And maybe it will do it for you. See you next time.